the door, you know, we lay together in bed, that's great. But where the problem lies is the misuse of the independence that you've got. Do you see what I'm saying? Which
Yeah.
is, you claim to be going, oh yeah, I'm a grown up. Why shouldn't I be able to go out with my friends? But then when you then use that as a smokescreen, you end up on the laps of some random young blood in the nightclub, right? And then somebody ends up smashing you to dust in the alleyway on the fire exit of the nightclub, right? You end up doing something silly, swapping phone numbers and stuff. Now, all of this is attached to the freedom that you've got and the application of that freedom. So then you come back home late at night, somebody has managed to break your lower back, and then you are then texting that guy. You're doing all sorts of things. Some people get corrupted by the company that they keep. And then, because this is the West, the moment the man starts to connect the dots and realizing that, whoa, this woman is making some dodgy moves. Then the woman does what? She weaponizes the Western freedom that she's adopted, right? So,
Yeah.
of course, what do you think? I catch you red-handed. Oh, hang on. It looks like, you're doing XYZ that's sinister, that's wrong, that's violating our union, right? And then you come in at 2 a.m. in the morning. Or, for example, babe, where are you coming from? Don't ask me no questions. I'm not answerable to you. I can go out as I wish. I don't have to tell you where I'm coming from. That's a catalyst for reaction from your partner, right? And then when the woman realizes that, okay, I'm dealing with a man here, I'm backed in a corner, and she's not prepared to back down, boom, calls the police, right? Falsifies the story and says she's threatened, or even at that, starts a drama in the presence of the innocent young children at home. Your father is trying to kill me. Yeah, I've seen this, where the police comes in. They haven't got time for, excuse me, did you have a one-night stand, blah, blah. That's none of their business. They perceive that you are threatened. They ask the man to pick his shirt. If they're nice enough, they throw him on the pavement, right? And I'm saying some. I'm not saying this is the case for a lot of women. The reason I'm trying to say this is the adoption of this so-called, oh yeah, I've got my papers, I've brought you here, I'm independent, I've done blah, blah, blah. You can't stop me. I've seen women that have basically used that to railroad their men, sabotage the relationship, and then when they end up becoming single, they realize they've been sold a fraudulent narrative, but then it's too late. The relationship is already destroyed, and then they're the ones that end up in the front row of most churches without makeup in their late 40s.
But frankly, it also boils down to power. Most people, is this newly acquired or newly found power, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to handle it. That's also the problem. And most people want freedom. It also boils down to mindset. Most women just want to get down with a guy, have 2 or 3 kids, and that is it. They don't want to do any other thing with you. They're not even interested in marriage. It's power. They want power. They want freedom.
I like what you just said. They use the birth of the children that they get out of the man, and then they use the raising of those children to secure their old age, so they can easily discard. I hear that a lot, where you see some women, especially when they become menopausal, and then they dispose of the man, and then they're hoping that they shield themselves. Mommy. 9 out of 10 times, most children will gravitate towards mommy, and then they know that when they're getting old, the children will take care of them. I don't need you anymore anyway. Bye-bye. And this is how a lot of men end up depressed and stuff. You see them in their 50s and 60s telling stories about, I brought her from Africa and she got to England and she did and it happens like that.
It's mindset, frankly. It all boils down to mindset. Who you are, who you want to be, your plans for the future, your plan for yourself. And if that person is in that plan that you have, that's just it. Most people are married, but they're not seeing themselves with that particular partner in the next 10 years. So everything I'm doing, I'm going to cut you off in the next 10 years. And that is how I've planned my life. So if I'm able to get 2 or 3 kids from you, hallelujah. And in 10 years, you're going to be in my history. So most people are like that. Is mindsets, both men and women. But for us Black people, there is deeply rooted in a lot of things. And unless we tell ourselves the truth, this particular story, it won't be the last of it. It will keep on, because we're already going in with so many things at the back of our head. Do you like me? Do you not like me? Do you have money? Are you working? Can you take care of me? You got cash? What do you want? Are you gonna leave me in 10 years, 5 years, 15 years? If you have your paper, are you going to dump me? Things like that. So we already have a lot of things in our mind with experience. It happens to me. It happened to my neighbor, my cousin, my sister, my brother, my mother. In our head, we have all those things. So if we are stepping in, we're stepping in with fear, and that fear will begin to manifest. It will begin to manifest. Thank you,
Ella. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Franklin, for having me.
Thank you. Peace. Right, let me bring on the next person. There's guys in the background. Don't worry, I'll bring you on. Let me just bring on the next person. Everyone's going to get the chance. Please, in going forward, so let's keep it brief. 2-3 minutes, straight to the point. Let's go. Who is this? Mr. Jerry?
Yeah, Alpha.
All right, brother.
Yeah, so I like the conversation, and what you and the lady said is very critical. You talked about the power. For me, I think it's more of a perceived power rather than you've got a power, because power is not physical. So it's a perceived power. So for example, a lot of people I know, they come to the UK, they might have a white chick that they might love, but then you've got family in Africa saying, well, you've got to have somebody in Africa because you don't want to make people use you later. You want to have everything to be your own. You know, you go there and you get an African lady. You don't even know her. You've not even spent a lot of time with her. And like you mentioned with your guy in Nigeria, that the friend says, meet with this lady abroad. You know, you don't even know them. You've not spent time with them because of that infatuation, that fever of abroad. You know, even now, I'm a man, and sometimes I hear some people from Nigeria saying, when are you coming back to get a lady? I mean, coming back to do what? You know, why am I going to get a lady in Nigeria? Even if I wanted to get a Nigeria lady, there are lots of Nigeria ladies in the UK. But you still have that mindset where some people think, because somebody is educated, I want someone who is less educated, so I bring them from Africa so I can control them my own way. So you see the cycle.
Wow.
And another part of it is, if you are going into relationships, you know, behaving in an unscrupulous manner, behaving in a manner where you're not settled, then I think we have to ask ourselves as Black folks, are we just marrying somebody because they are Black or we really love them? Because if that's the case, then it's no different than just marrying a white person or a Latino person. Because, you know, I see no reason for anybody to be in that position to say, I married this person and I'm just going to use them for that, or I don't want to get married anymore and I'm just going to make them my retirement plan. And I think as a human being, it shouldn't be that way. But you see that happens a lot. So we have to deconstruct it and say there is a psychological aspect of it and there is a human aspect of it. The psychological aspect deals with societal facts. So you've got parents, even as you will know some people where we say the day they've worked out, they might have a white girl that they loved. You know, they might have anybody from any race, Latino. I know somebody who was actually in love with this person. She was Spanish. And the mom comes, said, why are you going to marry someone who's older than you? You know, blah, 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 blah. You need to have a Nigerian lady. You need to have somebody to call your own, to give them your property and all that. It divorced this beautiful lady, this well-intelligent lady. She had her own money, nothing. Brought somebody from Nigeria. After 6 months, the lady was like, well, I'm tired of this marriage. I'm going to divorce you. And because he was very wealthy, she used the advantage and got a lot of properties from the divorce. So the question is this: are we actually saying I marry somebody because we love them, or because we're using Because remember, some people exploit, some Africans also exploit Africa as well. So are we using are we exploiting blackness as a cover for our own evil? Are we saying I'm going to marry a black woman, not because you love her as a black man, but because you want to control her, because you have this perception of fear that if you date someone else or you date somebody who's from the UK, then they're going to come one day, they're going to control you, get your properties and move away. So there is a lot of factors in it. And I think that's something that we've got to look at. So when we say power, is it power or perception of power? Because what's the physical power? Let me give you, let's go back into history anyway. If you look at the psychological factors between Nigeria and the UK, there isn't any much difference. You know, the UK was ruled in Roman Catholic, the Church of England. Nigeria was ruled deeply rooted tradition, and then modernization. We talked about Christianity, and it's the same layers, that fabric of conservativeness, if you understand. So you've got you might have some women in the UK who are even white, who are black, who might not have this power that some of our black sisters in Africa, they think that when you come here, you're going to have everything on a platter. So that's why when they come, those who have, again, this is not a generalization. I'm just saying some people who think they've got a perception of power, when they come here, they realize, oh, well, it's not really easy, because even white women, if they want to divorce a man, it takes time. I know some people, because of the job I work, I have some colleagues who are middle-aged white ladies, middle-aged white men. You will be surprised that some of the time they might not even have access to financial means. It's the man who has the access to those financial means, the property, the housing, and all that. So the question then becomes, what are we actually chasing as a black person? What are you actually chasing that you would marry somebody, you want to use them? What is the urge? Because even the power you perceive, you think you have, your white hairs or the people who are around you may not even have them. So are we chasing a superficial power? This power, I see it and I look at it. Well, it's not a power at the end of the day, because you have to look at another standpoint. Those who come in, they think they have power. By the time they get all the inheritance or divorce or whatever they want to get, they kick the man out because they don't have that financial literacy, that intellectual capability. They're going to squander the resources they get anyway. So it might not be just using somebody, but we've got to look at the end goal. If you get the property or you use somebody for visa and all that, where are you going to? What is your end goal anyway? Are you just doing that because of sheer ignorance or because you have a plan? So I think, we've got to balance it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man.
Yes.
Oh, hello. I feel like I've made it. I have made it to your life. I'm hijacking your channel because I'm actually not Nigerian. I didn't know you guys had the same issue we have with this divorce rate happening, police calling.
Where are you from?
Cameroon.
All right.
So I didn't know you had the same. So I'll be quick. You said 2 to 3 minutes. So all I can say is that I think there's a lot of assumptions because people think that if they go back home and they pick someone, whether it's the man they're picking or the woman, that they will have certain mentalities. So they think that people back home have the mentalities of our parents in that generation. But our parents did not have social media like now. Our parents didn't have access to a lot of things. So the mentality was very formed purely by the culture, like heavily by the culture and also by religion. But now you have a lot of influencers giving advice about relationship, about a lot of things. And people now don't have a way of discerning which way is right, which way is wrong. Does that make sense? So that means they end up taking a lot of advice from different people about how easy life can get if you do different things. And they make mistakes because a lot of the time, the people that are giving you advice are not there for you after you've carried the advice they've given. They don't tell you what's going to happen afterwards. Now, I'm not advocating domestic violence or anything of the sort. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that a lot of my generation, I think as well, doesn't know the expectation of marriage, doesn't know necessarily the difference between a weakness and wickedness. How do you make a difference between somebody who has issues communicating with you and somebody who is just wicked and just want things their way? So I think a lot of the times we haven't gotten the education needed to balance seeing the weakness in human being, but knowing that actually that's human nature. That's not that this person specifically wicked. And obviously that's not encouraging unfaithfulness and all these things, but it's saying to people that there's a risk that comes to saying yes to marrying somebody. There's no formula that somebody can say, this is 1 + 1. And if you do this and this and this and this will not happen. If somebody wants to act a certain way, they'll act a certain way. So I think it's about taking a risk, not making assumption, and having a balanced view of people. And at the end of the day, to face your music. If you've made a decision, you've went and picked somebody from back home, it didn't work out. Also, take your own responsibility in the matter. Don't just fully blame the person. You went and married with your eyes open. Okay. So you must have done some kind of discernment checks, whether prayer, whatever the case it is. So if at the end it did not work, just take it and say, thank you, madam. Thank you, sir. You have taught me life. Not, let me carry on.
Let me ask you something, Dom. Let me ask you something quickly. Do you have a similar problem in the Cameroonian community here in the West?
Start with
I gave you papers. I gave her papers. I did this. She married him because of papers. And so, God forbid, something goes wrong. Oh, he left me because he's now got papers.
Let me answer the question with you with this simple, small story, 30 seconds. One man like this was speaking to a lady in Cameroon. They were now enjoying life. Do you know that he was in a country in which her boyfriend was, her actual boyfriend? So she now did jajere, said yes, sweetheart and everything. He now married the girl and gave her papers, right? So she can now fly. At the airport, her boyfriend came and met her and she went with her boyfriend. So this is to tell you that people have come to a place of using people that has gone beyond. We have the same issues. I think it's an African issue in the sense of, I just get shocked when I hear the story. In one way, I understand why some lady will be motivated saying, I want to leave back home, I want to do this. But I'm also thinking that life will not stop after you get this paper. Something else will continue. Do you understand? Something else will continue afterwards.
So the man gave that lady papers. And then at the airport, she went with her boyfriend. I'll be like a 3-headed dragon at that airport.
At the airport with his friends. They were like, hey, my wife, they come today. She now saw he made eye contact with the guy. She now went to her boyfriend. The guy was like, you know how the African men now go crazy now? He was like, what just happened? Is it? And people now started laughing. You know how Africans are now. Sometimes they don't help you more. They now start laughing at him and say, hey, so that's your second husband there. She's not sharing you two with a different husband. Having said, I'm going to end with a good story. My best friend lives in Canada now, and her husband met her once back home, like at the patch or something. And they never exchanged contact or anything. He went back to Canada. And that was the last time they met before he got married. And they've been married now for 5 years. They have three beautiful children now. So that's what I'm saying is about taking risk. You don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's Absolutely. Not saying every time you pick a woman back home, she's going to turn out and do something else. Or every time you pick a man back home, he's going to turn out to something else. It's to say everything is a risk. Even if you meet somebody here, there's a risk associated with it. You just have to understand that nobody has the perfect formula for this is how it's going to work. They have advice, but at the end of the day, you are the one that's going to live out that advice. So that's what I'm going to.
I get that. Before you go, I want you to respond to this. I get that. Okay. I agree. But there is the bit where even if you met someone here, and the person hasn't got papers, and then you say, oh, cool, I like him or I like her or whatever. So as you said earlier, like any relationship, regardless, you would always have your differences, occasional arguments here and there and stuff like that. And what I've noticed in our community is